Hello everyone, this is Cherie, and this is my November 2024 recap vlog. So November was National Novel Writing Month, NaNoWriMo, and for my project I decided to rewrite the script I had written the previous year, which was She, A History of Adventure. This is an adaptation from the novel by H. Rider Haggard. It's an action-adventure story, and I'm going to turn it into an action-adventure horror film. I did well during the month of NaNoWriMo. I did a complete rewrite, but it's on the way. It's getting better, and hopefully it will be a really good script when all is said and done. Let's talk about the 99%, my indie film. I'm still working on the budget. Currently, it is at $686,988. So $687,000 basically. Currently 30% of that budget is going towards paying the actors. I'm budgeting for paying everyone SAG minimum. So SAG minimum on background actor is $216 for an 8-hour day. And for a principal, which is someone who has lines, it's $783 for an 8-hour day. So that's how the budget right now for the actors is $198,353. $162,000 goes towards the principals, and $36,000 and change goes towards the extras. But once I start adding the other lines that I still have to go through and budget for, the actor's percentage will probably go down. It probably won't be at 30%. I haven't even budgeted the food yet. So on a 60-day shoot for the food, yeah, that's going to be a lot. So right now it's looking like this is going into the low budget category, and the low budget is anything under $3 million. I don't foresee this going over $3 million, but I don't really know. Stay tuned to find out. All right, so next up, let's talk about the media I consumed in November. Let's talk about books first. I recorded a segment for this earlier, so let's go to the past. All right, past Cherie here, talking about 2 books I read in November. I don't foresee me finishing any other books, so I'm going to record this today. The first was Hellbent, and this is a sequel to The Ninth House, which I read a couple of months ago, and it is part of a series that's a dark academia fantasy series that takes place at Yale University, the Ivy League colleges, and where there's, the mysteries and witchcraft and magic and all that kind of stuff going on so that people at the universities can further their careers. And I enjoyed it, not as much as The Ninth House, but I would definitely continue reading the series. And then the next one is A Dark and Secret Magic by Wallace Kinney. Now, Wallace had a YouTube channel, or has a YouTube channel called Wallissimo, that she began at the same time I began my channel, A Screenwriter's Journey. So she started Nano, I started Nano. She was working on a different book to this one. But then between the first Nano and the second Nano, she had started writing this, A Dark and Secret Magic. Although back then it was called This Book is for October. So she finished it in October, I believe, of 2021. And then fast forward 3 years, she got it published, and I have it in my hands, and I read it and I loved it. She wanted to write a cozy Halloween book that you could read every year, and I think she succeeded in that. This was a labor of love that she had originally started for her sister. She did not start it intending to sell it. She had no designs like that. It was the other book that she had started for Nano that she thought she was going to sell. This was the one that resonated. And, it just goes to show you that you have to write what's important to you, write from the heart, and people are going to respond to it. So this is about a witch, a hedge witch, who has her magic based around the kitchen. So like the herbs that she grows in the garden, the recipes she makes, and in the back of this book, there's actually recipes that the main character makes that you can make yourself. Of course, you know, minus the magic, but this is proof. If you just keep writing, finish your projects, write from the heart, you know, you can do it. Wallace did it, you can do it. All right, let's go back to the future. Thank you, Cherie. Okay, let's talk about the screenplays that I read. I read 4, which is in keeping with my trying to read 1 screenplay a week. I read Crash, The Hurt Locker, Shakespeare in Love, and The Substance. Crash, Hurt Locker, and Shakespeare all won an Oscar for Best Original Screenplay. I adore Shakespeare in Love. It got a lot of hate that year because it won Best Picture as well. It beat out Saving Private Ryan. But I would much rather rewatch Shakespeare in Love. And the script is fantastic. If you want to read 2 great scripts from what I read this month, it would be Shakespeare in Love and The Substance. So let's talk about The Substance. It won the Best Screenplay Award at the Cannes Film Festival this year. And fingers crossed, it will get an Oscar nom, if not the win, at the 2025 Academy Award ceremony. The Substance was written and directed by a French woman. And if you've seen some of my past videos, you know that I complain whenever people deviate from the standard screenplay formatting. Let's see, the past winners, there was Belfast, Promising Young Woman, both by British writer-directors, and they didn't use the Courier font and stuff, and it annoyed me. And then last year's Anatomy of a Fall, there were like diagrams put in the script. It was all in French as well, but the scene headers were really weird. It was just a very strange looking script. Okay, well, The Substance deviates a little, but it deviates in a way that I really appreciate it, and I might use some of the techniques. I have 2 pages I want to show you. The first is from page 17. This is when Demi Moore is watching the video explaining The Substance, and there is a narration that goes over the video. So instead of having a character name like narrator and then in parentheses voiceover and then the dialogue, it just has what the narrator's saying in bold, italicized font. Have you ever dreamt of a better version of yourself? Younger, more beautiful, more perfect. This is The Substance. And then see how it's just bold on the page. This is what you see at the same time the voiceover says it, and it just really stands out. Okay, let's go over to page 88. Now, towards the bottom, you'll see that the Courier 12-point font starts changing. It gets a little bigger, like maybe now it's 14. It's all in caps and it's bold. And then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And this is one of the really big body horror scenes. As you're reading it, this is how it felt while you were watching it. And it's wonderful. So I'm thinking, if I'm doing these intense scenes where things build and build and build, and I really want to draw attention to them, I might do that. I might bold it, and I might start increasing the point size on the font. Next up, series. I finished Midnight Mass. This is the 3rd time watching this 7-part series, and I love it so much. Movies. These are the non-Harvard recommended movies that I really enjoyed. November was Native American Heritage Month, so I watched Fry Bread, Face and Me, which is a kind of coming-of-age story about a young man who goes to live with his relatives on a reservation. And it was just really charming. I loved it. The next one was part of my Global Movie Challenge, where I'm trying to watch one narrative feature from every country. And I picked one from Kyrgyzstan. It's called Kermanjan Datka, Queen of the Mountains. And this is a historic epic. It's very beautiful, and the story really drew me in. It's on YouTube right now. So it's based on a real character, this woman who tried to bring all these tribes together in Kyrgyzstan when the Russians were invading. And she got all these tribes to come together, but it wasn't until after her death that it actually, Kyrgyzstan became its own country, basically. And the next one is A Serious Man by the Coen brothers. This was one I had heard about a lot that had been recommended. And during one of my movie challenges, I thought I was watching this one that everyone had recommended, but I was watching A Single Man. But I guess that was also recommended. It was a good movie too. And then I realized my error and I'm like, oh, I still have to see A Serious Man. So it was released on the Criterion Channel in November. So I finally watched it. It's about a Jewish man who is having all these problems and starts to question his faith. And I loved it. I thought it was wonderful. And then finally, The Taste of Things. This was kind of notorious because it was the French selection to be submitted to the Oscars for last year's Oscars. And everyone was up in arms because they thought Anatomy of a Fall should have been the French selection. Well, they submitted The Taste of Things, and The Taste of Things did not make the top 5. Had they submitted Anatomy of a Fall, who knows if it would have beaten The Zone of Interest, which was the Oscar winner last year. But anyway, so The Taste of Things is actually quite a wonderful movie, and I would probably watch that again over Anatomy of a Fall, just because I'm not into courtroom dramas that much. And The Taste of Things is all about food, and you cannot watch this if you're hungry. You eat before or eat during, but they show how to make all these wonderful French dishes, and it's just kind of like a glorious foodie film. Okay, and this next one, okay, I can't recommend this one because it got horrible reviews. It came out earlier this year, but it was just released on Netflix. And but you know me, I love a good AI run amok story. So this is Afraid. Meet Aya. She's here to help. So this is definitely right up my alley, the AI run amok kind of genre. And yeah, so I'm not recommending it. Okay, finally, the Harvard University PhD narrative film list. I have got through number 111 through 130. So, of these 20 films, I had already seen half of them. And of those half, I recommend half. I'm recommending 5 to you. So, the first one is from 1950. It's the 119th film on this list, Sunset Boulevard. Sunset Boulevard was directed and co-written by Billy Wilder, and it's about a silent movie star who wants to stage a comeback, and she gets this young writer to help her with her script, Salome, which she wants to present to Cecil B. DeMille at Paramount and reinvigorate her career. And it's noir, it's kind of horror, it's wonderful. I love this movie so much. It's my 4th favorite movie of all time, Sunset Boulevard. The next 4 movies that I would recommend are Rashomon, Salt of the Earth, Tokyo Story, and Ugetsu. 3 of these are Japanese, but they're all by different Japanese directors. Rashomon is where we get the saying, the Rashomon effect, and it's about it's kind of like a courtroom drama, but it's a courtyard drama. They're standing trial in a courtyard, and you get 3 different versions of this incident that happened. And it's the same thing, but from 3 different perspectives, and you can see how people see things differently. Salt of the Earth. This was one I watched when I was writing the 99%. It is about Mexican Americans working at a zinc mine in New Mexico and how they went on strike in order to have better working conditions. Tokyo Story. It's about an elderly couple who travel to Tokyo to visit with their children, but their children don't have time for them. This is very profound, and it's a tearjerker. If you want to cry at the end, watch Tokyo Story. Ugetsu. Ugetsu is a supernatural fantasy. It's one that I watched when I was doing my horror movie research because I thought it was a supernatural horror, but it really wasn't. But it was wonderful. It's about 2 men who go off into the city to sell their pottery. One man gets sidetracked because he wants to be a samurai, and another man gets sidetracked by this woman who actually turns out to be this ghost, and it disrupts their whole family lives. And then the final movie from the Harvard list, this is one that I hadn't seen before, but I do want to talk about. The Murderers Are Among Us. This is a German film, and this was really difficult to find. It wasn't streaming anywhere. I couldn't find it at the library. My friend Tom had to find it for me. So he's the one that finds all these weird, obscure ones for me. But it is about a woman who, after World War II, she's been away for a while, and she comes back to her apartment, and she finds this alcoholic doctor living there who doesn't want to practice medicine anymore. And you know, without them telling you why she was away for so long during the war, why he doesn't want to practice medicine anymore after the war, and the two become friends. And it's got a kind of dark ending, and it's not quite German expressionism. I mean, it does have some kind of expressionistic elements, maybe more noir. I don't know really what you would call this genre, but good. Let's just call it good. So yeah, so that's it. And I hope that everyone is having a great holiday season so far. I hope you all stay warm. And thank you for joining me. I'll see you in the next video.